were taught somewhere along the line that you're at the bottom of the pecking order.
Right.
I felt the same way as a child.
That's how I felt in my family.
I had 9 siblings, and there was a dog, Susie, and then there was me.
Yeah.
Even the dog. Every time I walked by this little Cocker Spaniel, she'd be like this.
Oh.
I was seriously below the dog on the pecking order. And you wonder why I was an addict too.
Yeah.
Because we're trying to compensate. We use our addiction to make us feel like we're on the top.
Exactly.
And it's all ego and pride.
And actually, like, I never feel on the top eating. I never feel on the top. It doesn't make me feel on the top.
No.
What makes me feel on the top, that just gives me joy and is like doing my coaching business. That's what gives me joy.
Well, that's because that's still authentic.
Yeah.
You would do it for free, to be honest with you.
Oh, I would.
That is authentic.
I would do it for free.
I know, listen to you. But that's like me talking to you.
Yeah.
You paid me, and I freaking love what I'm doing right now. I totally understand that. And that's the stuff that you really are good at because you love it. That's how you should feel about your husband.
Yeah. Right. Yes, I agree.
That's how you feel about your son.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know. He can do anything and be anything, and you have boundaries. This is not saying we don't have boundaries.
Right.
However, it's not their job to make you feel better about yourself.
Exactly.
You should feel good about yourself.
Exactly.
For yourself.
Yeah, right.
And know that they love you no matter what, right?
Because they do.
I know.
My husband actually has proved that over and over again because, hello, he hasn't,
left.
He hasn't taken everything and went bye-bye.
When do you go to him and acknowledge what we've talked about? When do you say, hey, honey, I have this false front. I'm not as awesome as I think I am?
I talk to him every time I've been here, so.
Oh, I'm so glad.
Yeah, I don't usually not say what has happened just because that doesn't work for me to, have...
Ignore it?
Yeah.
Just not say anything, sweep it under the rug and don't talk about it? It's like it never happened?
Yeah. I'm not going to tell him that because that'll just make him feel better.
Well, you know what, honestly.
It's like, well, yeah.
You mean that you love him?
Do you think if he feels better, maybe I'll feel better? Oh.
Well, he needs to know that you're taking ownership of your own, that you recognize why you're treating him this way, that it is not okay, and that you really, really do love him, even if he, I don't know.
Yeah.
Worst case scenario, I don't know.
He's a dork.
Whatever it was, that you both want the same thing. You know that. You both want the same thing. You want to love each other, and you want to have the good times all the time.
We want to be happy with each other. We I still agree. We each have our own lives that we live. That
absolutely.
That he goes hunting. I do not do that.
And that's okay.
And I'm and that's perfectly fine. And it's there's stuff I'm going to do. It's like, yep, you're never going to do that. I understand that. But when we're together, it'd be like, okay, I want to be happy with him.
You have to like yourself to like him. It's like you need to actually like your husband as if you like a friend. There's certain friends that you're just like, you adore them.
Absolutely.
You love their creativity. You love their spark. They're just their energy. You're very different people, and you accept their differences, right?
Absolutely.
They don't have to do the same church you do. They don't have to like the same clothes you do. They can be totally different. Political side, totally.
Yep.
That's how
I have friends like that.
That's how it should be with your spouse.
Yeah. Yes.
To where you don't rely on... Well, here's the difference. Your friends that you love and you adore, it's not unconditional on some level. There's a point where they would be like, I'm not...
Yeah.
This is not worth the friendship for me.
Right.
Whereas your husband's committed to you, and therefore you can cross the boundaries. And the more he lets you cross the boundary, the more you continue to cross the boundary. Yeah. And so in the moments that he's like, done.
Yeah.
I've had enough.
That's enough.
That's when you need to reflect upon yourself, not on his reaction to it.
Right. Because that's what I do concentrate on.
I know.
And then
that's his problem. Oh, I do the same thing with my husband.
Yeah.
If he was watching this right now, he'd be like, Robin, you are the master of that.
Oh, well, then I be master too. It's like, it's like,
Yeah.
And it's just so, like, it actually, it's funny because physically it makes me sick to my stomach that I do that. Like, not like I'm going to barf, but I'm just like, oh, that just makes my tummy, like, ugh.
Like you wish you could go back?
Yeah.
What would you do if you went back differently? Is there any scenario where you think, I don't think I would have said that. I think I would have said something different. When he said this, I would have accepted what he was saying. You know what I mean? When do you have acceptance for what's real?
Right.
What is the truth?
Yeah.
Part of it, too, is that if the truth hurts, you'd much rather lie about it.
Yeah.
And you'll believe your own lie.
Absolutely.
Like it was his fault.
Yep.
Even though he said this is the truth, you know he said the truth.
Yep.
You're going to make up some false lie, believe it, and then make him apologize for telling you the truth.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's like, no. Oh my God, my son actually sometimes does that.
Oh, he's learned from someone.
I was like, oh, hey. Yes. So that is true.
And to tell the truth when it's not something you're proud of or something that you think, they're right.
Yeah.
It requires humility.
Yeah. Yeah, which I'm not. I'm better at.
Well, humility would make you say you're right. There's a huge void inside. You have to acknowledge that. And to be honest with you, as soon as you have that humility, all of a sudden something deep it deepens your presence. It just, something fills up a little bit when you tell a hard truth.
Yeah.
You're willing to have the vulnerability of that. That's vulnerability.
Yeah.
It's the fear of rejection. It's all coming back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I totally have never grown up I could not be vulnerable. That was not right.
Yeah,
that was not right.
Okay, this is your practice. You really need to figure this one out. And the funny thing is, the first time you do it, you're going to go, that was way easier than fighting. And we actually, it's so much more peaceful.
Yeah.
But it requires that you acknowledge where you're wrong and that you submit to it and recognize it. Once you submit to it, too, then you're held accountable to yourself.
Right.
And that may be what you're afraid of, is that you fear yourself.
Yes, because I have a huge, thing about being accountable to myself where I just avoid it.
Is it because you're the biggest critic? You're your biggest critic?
Yeah. I have to
turn this off. It's way too long, but close it off. I want to hear what you have to say, and then we'll turn this off.
I just don't. I don't actually know what that is or why I just can't be accountable to myself. Like there are certain things that I like, it's like, oh, that's okay, I can do that. But when it comes to kind of big major things, I'm so not accountable to myself.
Well, you may not actually want to do those big major things. We talked about this the first time.
Yeah.
You might not really want those, but you like the idea of it, or you would like
and that could be.
Or it may not be something that's authentic. It's not coming from a source that's when you talk about your consulting or your coaching stuff.
My coaching,
that stuff you're accountable to, right?
Oh, yeah.
Anytime you're like,
I have a client and it's like,
you're willing to do.
Yeah. And it's like, I'm accountable and,
because
I
you
started
like
a class
and you want to do it.
Yeah, and I was like, I had to get the manuals ready. I was totally accountable.
So what's the difference between that and the other things?
Well, there is stuff that I've actually known for a couple of things that I was like, oh, I just don't really want to do that.
Okay, well, that makes sense why you wouldn't want to do it.
Yeah.
Let's close with this. If you could go back to the moment you were eating, that's the other thing.
Mm-hmm.
What would it have felt like for you to go through that argument, through all the discontent that you created? It's like shaking up a bottle and like a Coke of some type, and the pressure. Where would it have gone if it didn't go into food? Like, think about your response. If you didn't eat, what would it have felt like? Would you have cried? Would you have felt bad?
Yeah, I would have felt bad. I wouldn't have cried. It wasn't that kind of fight.
Okay.
I possibly would have punched something.
So
like a pillow.
Physical,
like a pillow or something.
Like frustration.
Yes, because it was just so frustrating. It was like I just wanted to shake him because he just So that is just like this.
So if it wasn't to food, it would have been physical abuse.
Yeah, I wanted to punch something. I don't normally hit anything.
No, you need to think about it though. Because it's kind of the same thing. It's the same thing. You feel like you need an outlet. You need something.
I feel like I need an outlet. That's it. I do feel it.
For the feeling you have inside.
Yes.
It's like shaking a bottle up that's got fizzy water and it's going to explode.
Yes.
That's what I meant by that.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like there has to be, like I have to let it out.
Okay, but at what point do you just sit there and let it just fester? Because you know it doesn't explode. If you just sat there, eventually the pressure goes back down.
Yeah.
I'm going to highly recommend, next time you get that opportunity, which you will.
Oh, yeah.
That you just sit there. Like, lay down on the ground and just lay there.
Okay.
I know, it sounds bizarre.
Yes. Yes, it does.
You need to recognize that the reaction to that feeling is an addiction.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, like if you go shopping next time, or if you punch someone, or if you go to food, or if you go look at porn, or if you go gambling. That's usually what people do when they get that feeling.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I would just normally go to food. That was like...
Yeah, and you never thought of that as an addiction.
No,
but I'm trying to
did.
tell you, it's no different than I'm going to alcohol. I'm going to smoke a cigarette.
Yeah. I used to smoke a cigarette.
So now it's making sense. So it's like if you were to do nothing, you're essentially saying, I do not need an outlet for this feeling. Because this feeling is something I need to learn, to understand, and I need to learn to feel it and not judge it, and I need to accept that this is the outcome of trying to control something I really don't have control over.
Okay, gotcha.
And it sounds like just lay there.
Yeah. Would you be like, what?
I'm going to turn this off.